The pig farmer, a serial killer who fed his victims to his pigs. The man we're discussing today is Robert Pickton. He is truly one of the sickest, most evil serial killers in history. So I am putting a warning on this video. The things we're going to be discussing today are extremely disturbing. Robert Pickton was raised on his family's pig farm. His entire family was disgusting, gross, filthy, and stinky. If you've ever seen Wrong Turn or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just picture families like those. Not only were the Pickton family filthy and disgusting, but they were also terrible people. Like, pick a struggle. For example, when Robert was a little boy, he bought an adorable baby cow with his own money. He was so excited. He loved that baby cow and was raising it with care and affection. Until one day, he came home from school and found his baby cow butchered by his father. And it wasn't even because they needed the money. His dad just thought it would be funny to hurt his son in that disgusting way. Another instance of this family just being truly terrible is this. One night, Robert's older brother was driving at night and accidentally hit a 14-year-old boy. The 14-year-old boy survived, but the victim's family was so scared of their family member getting in trouble that the mother went to the scene of the accident and dragged the little boy's body into a flooded embankment and essentially drowned him, killing the 14-year-old boy. So this family is all just evil people. Robert worked on the family pig farm as a farmer and a butcher into adulthood, even after his parents both passed away. It was around this time that Robert started to abduct and unalive young women that worked in F's work. He would butcher and treat them like they were animals on his farm. Robert had multiple ways of disposing his victims' bodies. One of them was feeding his victims to the 700 pigs on his farm, and the other two ways that he disposed of their bodies. And the women that were in this area that worked in sex work were disappearing by the dozens. But the police didn't do anything about it, probably because of what they did for a living. Robert even had women accomplices that would help him lure his victims to the pig farm of horrors. And spoiler alert, none of those women ever faced any legal repercussions for the part that they played in the deaths of dozens of women. Robert Pickton was doing all of this undetected for over 20 years, and he only ended up getting caught by accident. The police went to the pig farm for an unrelated crime and found all this horrific evidence that this man was a serial killer. In police custody, Robert admitted to having 49 victims and expressed disappointment for not hitting 50 victims. The Big 5-0, as he referred to it. This man genuinely has zero remorse for what he's done. I told you guys I was going to tell you the other ways that Robert would dispose of his victims' bodies. But I'm just going to warn you again. This is going to be one of the most, if not the most, disturbing things you've ever heard in your entire life. So there are parts of animals, like pigs, that humans don't eat. We don't eat it. So butchers take those animal parts to a rendering plant so that the animal fat can be used to make soaps and other cosmetic products. Well, Robert would also take parts of his victims to the rendering plant. So people were unknowingly buying soap and makeup and other products with human remains in them. I'm gonna let that sink in for you guys for a minute before I tell you the third way that Robert would dispose of his victims' bodies, because somehow it just gets worse. Robert was a butcher who sold ground meat for people's consumption. Not only were the pigs eating human remains, but there's evidence that proves the ground meat he was selling for people to eat had human meat in it. So for 20 years, people that bought Robert's meat were unknowingly taking part in cannibalism. I didn't even know that was something I should be fearful of. Because the police in this town were so awful, no recall or official announcement was ever made to the public about this. But not only did the police in this case suck, the judge in Robert's trial did as well. Robert was arrested on 27 counts of first-degree murder. It was 27 because at that time, they only had DNA evidence for 27 out of his 49 victims. But the judge felt that trying him for all 27 counts would take too long or something. So, Robert Pickton was only found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder. That's 43 women who never got justice. Before I tell you the one tiny shred of good news in this entire horrifying case, I want to talk about the victims. I am so sorry to the victims and their families and their friends and their loved ones. I could not imagine having my mother, daughter, or sister be taken from this world in such a brutal way. And then their bodies were disrespected and disposed of like they were animal scraps. And then for them to never even get justice at the end of it. If you are a friend or family member of any of the victims of Robert Pickton and would like to share a little bit about your loved one and who they were as a person before their life was stolen in such an awful way, please leave a comment. I would love to read it. And to everyone else, please just be respectful and kind. On May 31st, 2024, Robert Pickton died. He was killed by another inmate, stabbed in the head with a broom. I would like to say that he got what he deserved, but it still doesn't feel like enough. But I will say, and I mean this truly, I hope you rot in hell, Robert Pickton. If you watched to the end of this video, thank you so much, because I know this one was disgusting and hard to get through. So, for that, I am sorry. But I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.